Today I'm going to answer all your questions that I received regarding design. You asked the questions, I'm going to answer them. So let's dive right in.
How do I choose the right font for my social media graphics?
Just like colors, fonts also evoke specific emotions. So again, you want to think about what information do I want to convey in my graphic to choose the right fonts. Because fonts can also evoke specific feelings about happiness, excitement, sadness. Some of them are neutral and some fonts are more formal. So for instance, cursive fonts or handwritten fonts, they are a little bit more playful, whereas bold fonts can really evoke excitement in your design. In general, there is a whole psychology behind fonts. I'm not getting into this, but if you're interested, you can definitely read up on it. But it's very essential to choose the right font to convey your message appropriately. When creating graphics, I personally recommend using a maximum of 3 fonts that complement each other. And it's very important to use complementary fonts. One thing that you definitely want to avoid is pairing 2 cursive fonts or 2 handwritten fonts, because it looks absolutely inconsistent, it looks cluttered, it never looks good. Instead, you want to aim for balance. You want to choose fonts that work together, that harmonize with each other, and at the end of the day, you want to make sure that everything is readable. So if you like handwritten fonts or cursive fonts, personally, I like them a lot because they're very playful, but I only choose one handwritten, one cursive font. Usually it's the headline, and the rest is a little bit more toned down. I only like to use them for maximum 1 to 2 words. If it's a whole sentence, I don't really like it because, again, it loses the legibility. But words such as welcome, hello, sale, all of these are great for handwritten or cursive fonts. But by choosing fonts carefully and considering their emotional impact, you can create social media graphics that really effectively resonate with your audience and also help to clearly convey the message.
What are some tips for designing graphics that align with my brand identity?
First and foremost, you want to choose your brand colors, and you can choose different opacity levels of your brand colors to create different hues, diversifying your graphic and add dimension without really compromising your brand identity. When adding a text to your graphic, you want to make sure that your text stays on brand. You want to speak in your brand voice and it should align with your style. So whether your brand is playful, professional, authoritative, your text should reflect that personality. You also want to add your brand logo to the design to further increase your brand awareness, the brand recognition. But when you use your logo in a design, you want to make sure it's not taking over the graphic. You want to place it strategically either at the bottom, in the corners, on top, where it fits the overall composition, but again, it's not taking over. If your graphic is already crowded, you can also ditch the logo. Personally, for me, I'm not including my logo in every single graphic. I only include my logo where I think it makes sense and it looks good. You don't need to include your logo in every single video, in every single graphic that you're putting out there.
What types of images work best for social media posts?
Users on social media respond well to authentic and relatable images, showing real people in real situations or showing experiences. Because authenticity at the end of the day really helps to connect with someone. If someone is relatable, it helps to just spark the level of engagement from your audience. Another graphic you can share online are infographics, because infographics are great to really showcase a complex scenario or a process in a more digestible and fun way. And when you create infographics, you want to make sure you use bold colors, clear fonts. You want to make it visually appealing and, again, not too crowded. So again, you want to look at visual hierarchy, making sure that you have a headline and just that your graphic has a nice flow to it. Another type of style that works great for social media, any lifestyle and behind the scene content. So sharing behind the scene content of either how your product is made, your business, just giving glimpses of your day-to-day life. They really humanize your brand and they're very relatable. And for me, that's a given, but I will also say that any picture, any photo, any video that you share online, it should be high quality. So stay away from anything that is blurry or unsharp.
What metrics should I track to measure the effectiveness of my social media graphics?
You want to track engagement metrics such as likes, comments, saves, and shares, because these metrics will let you know whether your graphic is relevant or not to your audience. The more people that engage with your audience, it means that your graphic is relevant. Of course, also reach and impression is another metric that you can look at to really understand the visibility and exposure of your graphic across social media.
How do I handle seasonal or event-specific graphics for social media?
If you want to include current events in your social media strategy, you have to be quick. You want to post those event-specific graphics or seasonal graphics at the right time, and not when the event is already over or when everyone already talked about it or when the season is gone. For example, there were 2 events that really gained massive exposure on social media, and one of them was the Barbie movie and the other one was Taylor and Travis, their relationship. And for your own brand, you can definitely piggyback off already the virality these 2 items or these 2 events had online. So for the Barbie movie, you can create graphics that align with the style of, let's say, the Barbie movie poster. So you can use similar colors, a similar font, but you can use it to draw attention to, let's say, a sale you're having, or you have a course that you're trying to sell, you have a webinar, you want people to opt in for a consultation. You can create a movie poster. It looks like the Barbie movie, but really talks about your brand. So that is one way to utilize current events. And of course, if we talk about Taylor's relationship with Travis Kelce, there were a lot of brands out there who made fun skits about it or memes or references to their relationship, which then helped them to gain more exposure online. But when you choose seasonal events or when you want to talk about current events, you have to make sure they align with your brand. Don't choose an event because it goes viral online just to try to snatch some eyeballs. You have to make sure it aligns with your brand voice, and makes sense for your brand. You do not just want to post a random content. And this also led us yet again to another episode of the Content Marketing Cheat Sheet podcast. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer, whether it's marketing questions, paid media questions, design questions, influencer questions, business questions, whatever it might be, just drop them in the comments and I will answer them in my next video. If you need immediate assistance, you can also reach out to me at Nina@thesocialwisdom, and I'm so glad you tuned in today. Remember, the world is your oyster, but everything is disgusting. Until next week, goodbye. I always say in Germany, auf Wiedersehen.